This is gonna be my last video installment of my 2026 TBR jar videos. I thought I would put 50 book titles that I have said that I wanna start reading over and over again this past year, but I haven't get a chance to do it. And in 2026, every single month, I'm hoping to at least pick about maybe 3 to 5 book titles from this jar to hopefully read it that month. I have went over the first 30 book titles in the previous 2 videos, and in this last video I'm gonna go through the rest of them, which is gonna be 20 book titles. So I'm definitely going to try my best to go through these book titles in rapid fire. Okay, let's just pick the first book title from the jar, and book number 1 is going to be The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. So this book has a really interesting premise. The main female character out of nowhere found a husband in her house, and obviously she's never been married before. With this husband, her actual reality was also shifting because her friends and her family knew of her husband. One day, this first husband went up to the attic to change a light bulb, and then a few minutes later a different husband came out of her attic. So I'm hoping that throughout this book it's gonna be explained like how this whole thing came about. Is there like a secret or a magical thing behind her attic? Like, why is it happening to her? I definitely want to find out, so hopefully I'll be able to read this book next year. Book number 2 is going to be The Fox Wife by Yangzi Chu. The main reason why I put this book title in my 2026 TBR jar is because I actually got to meet Yangzi Chu in Henderson. It was actually pretty cool to listen to the way she writes her books, and it was just a very interesting way for her to write her book because she said herself that sometimes she doesn't know what's gonna happen in her book. She just kind of write as ideas flows out of her, and I definitely enjoy learning about that because I know a lot of different authors have a lot of different ways to actually put their ideas into like their books. This book is also pretty interesting because it has some Chinese folklores about foxes, and it also has kind of like a murder mystery vibe in this book. And honestly, I have been really into reading kind of like cozy mystery, murder mystery type of books, and hopefully I will be able to read this book next year because I do have 2 of her other books, and both of those books also have a very interesting premise. Next book, book number 3, it's going to be A Light Lark by Alex Astor. One of the main reasons why I decided to add A Light Lark into my TBR jar for 2026 is because Alex Astor, I feel like, very out there when she's promoting her books, especially the summer adult romance book that she published last summer. And I just really love the way that she presents herself on social media. She talks a lot about her writing process, and honestly I always see her with makeup and also without makeup a lot of the times on her Instagram story. I feel like she really brings her readers and her audience to like her actual writing life, which is super interesting. And I feel like because she came out with this kind of like 2-in-1 novella recently, I think in the last few months, this Light Lark book series have become a little bit more popular again. People have been talking about this book series, and honestly I just feel left out that I haven't even started reading the first book in the series. I do have the first and second book, and I'm hoping that if I do get to read Light Lark next year, I will continue on with the series as well. Book number 4, it is going to be Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. One of the main reasons why I decided to add this book is because the Addicted / Calloway Sisters universe or series, again, I feel like are super popular. I have heard so many people talk about this book series or the universe. If you actually have read one of KBR books or have kind of done a little bit of a research of their books, their book universe is just so big and all of them are kind of related to each other. So I just thought I would start with the Addicted Calloway Sisters series because it is probably one of the more popular ones of their book series, and I decided to hopefully read it next year because I did read one of their most recent release. I think it was called Burn Bright, and the main character in that series is one of the sons of the couple from one of these book series, the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. And when I was reading that book, even though I do enjoy the reading and also the writing style of these sisters, I just feel a little bit confused because I know that some of the backstory of the characters that I read in Burn Bright were probably in this book universe. So I feel like I wanted to read the Addicted Calloway Sisters series first before continuing with the Cobalt Empire series. I think that's what they're gonna call it. So hopefully I'll be able to read the first book. I know there's 10 books total. I don't know if I'm gonna be interested enough to read the whole book series because there's 10, but I gotta start with the first book to figure out if I would like to continue or not. Let's move on to book number 5. I should probably just take out all of the paper slips out of the jar so it's easier for me. Okay, this is Not a Game by Kelly Mullen. I think that's how you say the author's name. I actually won this book, I believe, from a Instagram giveaway, I want to say. And this book again is one of those cozy mystery books that was released in 2025, and it has a pretty interesting premise. I think the main characters are a grandma and granddaughter duo, and they were invited, I believe, to like a party at this mansion, and the host of the party died, I think, during like dinner or something like that. So they have to kind of figure out who did it and all of that, and it was just a very interesting premise. So I'm hoping again to read this book hopefully next year. So this is gonna be book number 6, and again I'm gonna just take out all of the paper slips from the jar so it's easier for me to, you know, just pull it out. I'll still pull it out like randomly. Okay, book number 6 is going to be Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean. This is the first book, I believe, in a 2-book series. It is a YA romance, I believe, and the premise of this book series is pretty interesting because they're kind of like Princess Diaries. So this is, I think, about a teenager. I forgot the character's name, but basically she just found out that she is a princess. She's a Japanese royalty actually. So I guess in the first book she went back to Tokyo to learn about her family and her, I guess, dad, who is, I believe, either the king or the crown prince of Japan. I don't remember. But then when she went back, she also learned that there are a lot of kind of like family drama that is happening in the background. There's like a jealous cousin and, you know, something like that. So I cannot wait to read this book. If you have read this book series, let me know in the comment below what you think about them. Book number 7, it's gonna be Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is actually the second book in the Nothing Like the Movies book series. I have read Nothing Like the Movies, I think, in the beginning of the year, and I did enjoy Lynn Painter's writing style, and I feel like I do like Lynn Painter's YA books better than her adult romance books. I've only read one of each, so I'm hoping that I can read more of her books next year, but I definitely want to try and read this book next year so I can say that I complete the series. I know there are a couple kind of like extra chapters in between the books, and I have read some of them. I'm not really sure if I read all of them, but I cannot wait to be back in Liz and Wes's universe. I think in this book it's kind of like a story from Wes's POV because Nothing Like the Movies is from Liz's POV, and I think this is also when they're in college, if I'm not mistaken. So I cannot wait to read this book next year. Book number 8 is going to be the first book in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J Maas. I think the first book is called A Court of Thorn and Roses, if I'm not mistaken. I know people are just saying ACOTAR all of the times. The main reason why I wanted to read the first book in the ACOTAR series next year is because I do have all of Sarah J Maas's book series, the ACOTAR series and then the Throne of Glass series. And I know there's so many different controversies behind the books and behind the author, but I feel like these 2 series are 2 of the most popular book series that are out there, and I just want to read for myself because I just want to also know why these book series are so beloved by everybody. And if I do like the first book, I will try and continue on with the series next year. I don't know if I'm gonna finish the ACOTAR series next year. I mean, it is possible because there's only 4 books. The Throne of Glass series, I think there's like 7 or 8 books, and again, I have all of them already, so I should maybe read the books first and then maybe I will pass it on to someone else. Book number 9, it's going to be The House of Eve by Sadika Johnson. I actually received this book from the publishers. I'm pretty sure it was Simon & Schuster, and I am part of the Simon's Book Buddies program, so sometimes they would send us emails and ask if we want the finished copy of some of the books that they just released. And this book has a pretty interesting premise. I think it was set in the 1950s, and it's from 2 women's POV. One of them, I forgot the name, but basically she is, I think, like the first African American that is supposed to go to this school or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I did just go over that book, I think, in my previous video where I talk about all of the free books that I've received from a publisher. And I think the second POV is from a woman who was actually going to get married to this one man, but I guess his family is disapprove of her, and she thought that a baby could like change their mind. So I think she was pregnant with this man's baby. I think there's just gonna be so many interesting stories that are happening in between these 2 POVs, and I cannot wait to read it next year. Alright, I think this is gonna be book number 10, and it is going to be To the Moon and Back by Eliana Ramage or Ramage. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this author's last name. I actually received the arc of this book, I think a few months before the book was published, and then I won a giveaway on Instagram and I was able to actually get the finished copy of the book. I don't really remember the premise of this book, but I know that it is about a Native American woman who wants to be an astronaut, and she's trying to go through like the NASA training, I believe. And then there's also some backstories about a girlfriend that she had in college, about also her mom and her sister. So there's like a few different women's POV in this book, and honestly it sounds super interesting. I just want to know how the story will unfold in this book, and again, hopefully I will be able to read it next year. Alright, I believe this is gonna be book 11 if I calculate them correctly, and it's going to be The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I believe this is a 4-book series, but there's also some spin-off series, and I honestly haven't really bothered researching the spin-off series because I haven't even started the original series. I have all of the books in the series, I believe. This book is about a girl who discovered that she won an inheritance from an old rich guy who she never heard of. And I think the guy also has either like 4 or 5 grandsons, I believe. I think they're all brothers, and they were just kind of confused why their grandpa decided to give this random girl, I think, part of his inheritance or something like that. So she was invited to live with the boys, and I don't know, something's gonna happen, I believe. So I cannot wait to read this book. If you have read The Inheritance Game, like the whole series, let me know in the comment below what you think about them. This is gonna be book number 12, and it is the first book in the Harry Potter series. I know that this book and the author has so many controversy in the past year. I do not agree with what this author has to say. I grew up with them. I have watched all of the movies, but I probably only read the first book when I was like 10 or 11. So I honestly don't remember a thing about it. And I know that the movies and the books are a little bit different, so I'm hoping that I can start with the first book in the series next year, and then hopefully I'll be able to continue the whole series. Like I said, I just want to read it and be done with it, and we'll see, maybe I will donate the books that I already have in this book series after I'm done reading them. Okay, book number 13 is going to be Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I feel like you probably know this, but the 3rd book in the series, The Onyx Storm, I believe, was released in the beginning of the year, I think in January of 2025, and everyone was so crazy about it. It was so hyped up. Everybody's like staying up late. They were like grabbing the special edition at Target like a mad person. And that is also when I started reading again. I know that the book series will continue. I think Rebecca Yarros was saying that she is going to take a break and then she's gonna be, I don't know, writing the next book next year or something. So because I have all of the books, because it was so hyped up, I just absolutely have to like read the first book at least next year so I can continue on with the series. And maybe if I read all 3 books before the 4th book comes out, then I can read the 4th book together with everyone else. We shall see if that's gonna be happening next year, but I'm hoping that I can read this book series starting next year. I think this is gonna be book number 14, and it is Alchemized by San-Lin Yu. I just want to say that I was not going to buy Alchemized, the actual book, just because I didn't really read the fanfic Manacled before. I actually never heard of Manacled before Alchemized was about to be published, and everyone is talking about it, how they cannot wait, how they wanted to go to the midnight release party so they can be the first few people who own this book and read it. But again, I'm weak and I was just convinced by everyone who's talking about this book on the internet. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to read it next year, but I definitely want to give it a try. It is a pretty thick book. I think it's over 1,000 pages. I don't think I've ever read anything over 1,000 pages before, but 2026 is gonna be new year, new me, new books, maybe. So let's see if I'm able to actually pick this book up and finish it within like a good period of time. I mean, I know for sure that I will take my time with reading this book, but I don't want it to be like over a long period of time. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, next book. So this is gonna be book number 15, and it's going to be Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I actually bought Once Upon a Broken Heart first because, again, that book series is also pretty popular. A lot of people love it. They bought like special editions of that book series. And when I posted about it somewhere, I don't remember, I think it might be Thread or even the YouTube like community tab, and a couple people are saying that I can jump into that series before the Caraval series, but it would be better if I start with Caraval first. Honestly, when I bought Once Upon a Broken Heart, I did not know that Caraval is like the prequel series or like the series that I should have read first before getting into that one. So I decided to follow that advice to actually read Caraval series first before going into Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I only actually have that first book and that's it, but I did buy the 3 books in the Caraval series minus the last novella. I think it's called Spectacular, because I'm waiting for the paperback to come out. But anyways, in the meantime, I will start and try to read the Caraval series first before getting into the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Book number 16. We're actually going through this pretty quickly in my opinion. Okay, it is gonna be Superhost by Kate Russo. The reason why I added this into my 2026 TBR is because I actually have heard about this book probably in 2024 or something, maybe 2023 even, and I found the actual hardcover book for $5 at Dollar General, and I decided to pick it up because I know that I've heard of this book and it was in my TBR from like a couple years ago when I wasn't really reading, but I kind of want to start reading. Anyways, I think this book is about a man in his 50s. I think he was just kind of down on his luck, and I think he decided to put his main house for rent at Airbnb, I want to say, or similar website or app, and then he actually lives out in the back house so he can make, you know, obviously a little bit more money. And I think there's like 3 different women who came to stay in his, you know, main house over a weekend or over a week or something like that. And I guess like they kind of like share stories between each other or something. I've heard about it like so long ago that I really should read it at least next year, right? Book number 17. It's gonna be An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. To be honest with you, I have no idea really about this book series. There are 4 books in this series. People are calling it the Ember of the Ashes Quartet. I believe it is a YA fantasy books, and again, I've heard so many great things about this author as well as about the book series. So I think a few months ago, Book Outlet has all of the 4 books in stock, and I'm pretty sure there was a sale going on. So of course I decided to get all 4 of them, and I'm hoping that I will be able to read the first book next year. You know what, I should also just open up the slip of the paper so it's easier for me to, like, you know, read the book title. This is gonna be book number 17, and it is Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. I honestly have never really heard of this book before, but I have heard about the author because I think she wrote a couple YA romance books that have been adapted to movies. I forgot what it's called, but I will pop up the book titles or the book covers on the screen. But anyways, I actually buy this specific book from the Bookshelf Las Vegas, which is this mobile bookstore that would usually do a couple pop-up events every month. She had a used book section, and I just, like I said, love used book section at bookstores, and you just never know what you find. And anyways, this book just kind of caught my attention, especially the book title, so I decided to pick it up. Let me know if you have heard of this book or if you have read it. Again, I'm hoping that I can pick it up next year. Book number 19, I'm pretty sure. This is gonna be Song of Silver, Flame Like Night by Emily Wen Zhao. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about her book or her book series, and I'm hoping that I could be the first few people who talk about it. And I actually have both of the books already. I think it's a duology. It is kind of like based on Chinese folktales, and again, I'm interested in reading fantasy books around that theme. And I recently purchased the first book in her other series from Book Outlet, and hopefully I'll be able to read it next year. Okay, last but not least, the 20th book is gonna be Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. The reason why I decided to pick this book up is because I actually found the first book at a local library back in, I want to say, August, when I went back to California. After I did some research, this book series is actually pretty popular, and I'm pretty sure it came out, I want to say, about 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. They are reprinting all of the books in the series, and I'm trying to collect the original, you know, print of the books. I have, I think, all of them, because Book Outlet, again, was the source. They were having a sale, and I was able to get most of the books except for book number 3, I believe. But anyways, heard so many great things about that book series, and I just want to see it for myself, and hopefully I'll be able to start the first book next year. Those are all of the 50 book titles that I have planned to read in 2026. Let me know if you have read any of these books, and I will see you next time. Bye!